Russia wants to build a nuclear power plant on the moon. Yes, you heard that right. A Russian nuclear power plant on the moon. Russia is planning that in the next decade, it will build a lunar power plant. So that, with the help of this nuclear power plant, it can power its lunar space program. Apart from this, Russia is also building an international lunar research station together with China. So Russia would also want that with the help of this nuclear power plant, the joint lunar research station of Russia and China can also be powered. That is why Russia is making efforts to have its own nuclear power plant on the moon by 2036. Now, this idea sounds good, but its implementation is very difficult. Because do not forget that we are not talking about building a nuclear power plant in another city or another country, but outside the Earth, very far from the Earth, on the moon. The distance from the center of the Earth to the center of the moon is approximately 384,400 kilometers. Building a nuclear power plant at such a distance is being discussed. For this, materials will have to be transported through rockets. As we know, rockets can carry only a limited payload, so the design will have to be kept compact. The mass and size will have to be kept within transportation limits. But at the same time, one more thing has to be kept in mind. The design must also be robust because this is not about an ordinary building but about a nuclear power plant. There is no room for error in this. Let's say a compact and robust design is achieved. After this, it will also have to be safely landed on the moon. A soft landing will be required, because a hard landing would generate shock stresses and vibrations that would damage the materials. So a soft landing on the moon will be necessary, and we already know how difficult that is. For your information, let me tell you that out of all the soft landing attempts made on the moon so far, about half have failed. This is how challenging it is. In the past, the Soviet Union successfully carried out soft landings on the moon multiple times. But recently, Russia's attempt at a soft landing on the moon failed. In 2023, Russia's Luna 25 mission crashed before landing. So if Russia wants to build a nuclear power plant on the moon, it will have to master soft landing technology. After this comes the harsh environment of the moon. The moon has no atmosphere and no magnetic field, but radiation levels are very high. Over time, this radiation will degrade materials. Therefore, the design will have to take into account the safety and longevity of critical electronic equipment. Then, since the moon has no atmosphere, cooling will not be like it is on Earth. On Earth, nuclear reactors generate massive heat, and this heat is efficiently removed through water and air. This protects nuclear reactors from overheating. But on the moon, due to the absence of an atmosphere, cooling through conduction and convection will not be possible. As a result, large radiators will have to be installed that emit infrared radiation into space to cool the nuclear reactor. So compared to Earth, cooling on the moon will be inefficient and very large radiators will be required. This is another major challenge. Then, on the moon, gravity is 1/6 of that on Earth. Fluid dynamics and the reactor structure will have to be modified accordingly. Then, lunar dust is highly abrasive. It can stick to equipment and enter inside, damaging the equipment. This is another problem. Then, just as earthquakes occur on Earth, similar events also occur on the moon, which are called moonquakes. Moonquakes can damage the reactor structure. So this possibility will also have to be considered and accounted for in the design. It must be kept in mind that frequent human intervention on the moon is not possible. So the system should be designed in such a way that they can operate autonomously for many years. The requirement for maintenance should be kept to an absolute minimum. This will be quite challenging because long-term reliability in vacuum and dust has not yet been fully tested. Accident risks will have to be reduced and contingency plans will have to be prepared. And it hardly needs to be said that this program is going to be very risky and expensive. But if Russia manages to overcome all these engineering constraints and logistical hurdles and somehow succeed in building a nuclear power plant on the moon, it will prove to be a game changer for Russia's lunar exploration program. On the moon, nights last for 14 days, during which solar power is not available and temperatures become extremely cold. In such a situation, a nuclear reactor will provide continuous high output energy. This will allow Russia to power its lunar missions over the long term. Rovers, observatories, scientific instruments, and life support systems will all receive reliable power. This means Russia will be able to build a permanently functioning scientific lunar station on the moon. Unlike other countries, it will not have to depend only on short-term missions. If this program succeeds, it will significantly enhance Russia's geopolitical prestige. Russia, which is currently lagging behind the United States and China in the space competition, will be able to revive its Soviet legacy and reassert itself as a leading space power. And most importantly, Russia will be able to carry out the mining, processing, and extraction of helium-3 on the moon, which is considered a future fuel and could prove revolutionary in the field of clean energy. The success of this ambitious program will push Russia far ahead in the lunar gold race. Let us see what happens next.